What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in once again to Unofficial Therapy Podcast. This is Chris Kane. I got my girl Arisse on the pod today. What's up, girl?
What's up? What's up?
You
So
know,
happy to
chilling.
be here.
I'm
Thanks
happy.
for the opportunity.
I'm happy to have you. I want to first start by shouting out your company. You see the
Word.
logo. Oh, you got the hat. I
Hey,
got this shirt on. We're gonna
for
get more into
sure.
that later on because obviously we want to make sure that people know what you're up to, know what you're about. But we got to start with something light. Let's get into the J. Cole 2-pack.
Let's
How do
do
you
it,
feel about it? How do you
man.
feel?
I don't even know how to feel. Sometimes he just comes with some shit sometimes that it's just like it takes you a while to digest it. So I think off the first listen, I was like, oh my God, my boy's back. You know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
dude, Supreme Dreams, is that what his name is?
yeah, yeah,
The comedian. And
yeah.
he's like, J. Cole? J. Cole? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
That's exactly how I felt, bro.
it was
And
good.
then after I was able to digest it, I went back to an interview that he had talking about hunger and how over time doing something for so long. And I mean, we all can relate with our careers and what we're doing. Sometimes
Sure.
you lose focus and you lose hunger, you lose passion or whatever it is. So he had to recenter himself. And I think you really hear it on both of those tracks. Like, I haven't heard him in his bag like that in a while.
Listen, I was so hyped. I've been a Cole fan since the come up,
Yep.
so this is a long time coming, and I actually didn't mind Snow on the Bluff. A lot of people had their way about it. I thought it
I
got
love
overblown. I thought it was a great song. It got overblown. So I was like, man, if he don't come back with something strong, they
it.
already got the door open to kick him out. Like, hey, Cole, we already after all he gave the game, they was
Yeah.
already trying to get him out. Like, don't throw Cole out. And then,
Yep. The
then when
whole
I heard it,
cancel culture.
then when I heard that beat for the climb back come on, I was just like, okay, this gonna be something. This gonna be
Yeah.
something. And then once it started rolling, I was like, I just found myself smiling. You know, when you
Yeah.
smile, you don't smile at rap. I was like, I was sitting there cheesing.
Word.
Like I was
I
low key
feel
proud of
that.
him, even though like he's a rock star. I'm like proud of him. Like he didn't let
Yeah.
the naysayers like take him down. Because a lot of people, when you start getting backlash, your music is shaky. You start trying to
Word.
like do too much in the public sphere. Like, look at me, I'm a good guy. And he just was like, let me go back to the lab,
100%.
make the
I was,
music.
I was talking about that too. Like, I'm just proud of dude. Like, I've been watching his career. Just like, I mean, we used to talk about it all the time back in the
Yeah,
day. We've been following him for forever. So to like see someone who opens up so much, you almost feel like you know him. Like he's the homie.
yeah.
Like really just proud of him for getting to this level. And the naysayers is a big. People really got to learn how to like tune shit out. Because like what
That's
you think
everything.
about me is none of my business. I think that's how people really need to. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I encourage people to
You're on
move
the
that way.
pod.
You
You
know what
can
I'm
say what you
saying?
want. You can
Be
say what you
careful
want.
now.
This is how y'all should think. All right. For me personally, here's what I realized too is that you got to have thick skin in any arena you're getting into, right? If you especially if it's entertainment related,
Ooh,
because you
sure.
can literally be the top of the mountain, and then a week or a month later, people try to throw you into the prison. We've seen it with Kevin Hart, where he was this guy, and then they say, "Oh, we found this tweet from 10 years ago," and it was like he was a pariah overnight. And then we've
Right.
seen people that, like the year before Sandra Bullock won Best Actress, she got like the Worst Actress award for this movie that
Word.
went like straight to DVD. Then she did The
Yeah,
Blind Side and got the Oscar, and it was like, y'all said I couldn't act, and now I just won Best Actress.
it's crazy.
So how do you go from that extreme to that like in an instant? And now she's seen as a credible actress, even though people were like, and it can happen overnight. Like it doesn't take much, but you gotta when people start throwing stuff at you and say you're not talented,
Absolutely, bro.
say you're just whatever, you just keep pushing, just
You
keep
just
pushing.
gotta keep pushing. And in the age that we live in, this era of just social media and like keyboard warriors just typing, like people just go on your page just to hate, bro.
Isn't
Like
that crazy?
it's crazy. I'm like, you're taking time out of your day, investing your energy to hate on me. Like, damn. I
I
almost
love.
appreciate it. Like, thank you, bro.
Listen, the comment section is America. It is amazing.
It's
Like
great.
it'll be a video that's like, "Hey guys, let's just all unite," and somebody be in the comments, "Hey man, you trash. I remember that one thing you did in high school." It's like, wait a minute, why are you
Like
bringing that salt to the
crazy, man.
otherwise like pure situation? Like it is, it gets racist real
Ooh,
fast in
for
comment
sure.
sections.
For sure.
It could be two
It
white
happened
people in
to
the
me, bro.
video.
I'll tell you a funny story. You're gonna laugh at this
Sure.
shit.
I'm ready to hear it.
Well, I just started like making music, and I've been writing for a while. I finally like put myself out there, made an Instagram page. I've been dropping like all my writings and stuff or whatever. So I decided to record myself like rapping, which is something that if you know me, like I'm super reserved, like I don't
Yeah.
really let people in, and I'm starting to put myself out there. And I said, fuck it, I'm gonna record it, I'm gonna put it out there.
Right.
And like one of my boys that I follow, Chai Diddy's 026 on Instagram,
Hmm.
dope page. He posted my post, and it was crazy. The comment sections, dude, like people talking about like, oh, why are you white with dreads? Like they look like dog tails, and calling me a cracker and shit. Like, yo, I'm not even white, bro.
It's
Like,
like
first of all, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Just listen to the message. So
you're fluent Spanish. Like, get off my back.
it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And I mean, I can't attest to having experienced racism on that level, like that most people have.
True.
But I can definitely understand and put myself in their shoes. But being from Miami and being Hispanic, you don't really feel it that much until you know, kind of leave and go away. Um, but I think it's just when it comes to social media, people just want to hate, dude. Like, I don't know why. I don't understand it psychologically. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Just in general, like
Yeah.
hating on someone else, like you got way too much to worry about, dude. Why are you hating on other people?
I think there's a lot of sadness out there. And listen,
For,
we were all in grade school at some point. Like
for
if someone raised their hand in school and said the wrong answer, the whole class laughed.
sure.
But no one
Oh
else
yeah.
had the confidence to raise their hand. Like we laughed at this person who got the wrong answer, but you didn't have the confidence to even put yourself in the game. And
True.
that keeps going as we get older. We don't stop being those
Absolutely.
people. The person
Yeah.
that says the wrong word, they're like they misspeak, or maybe they like put the wrong tense on it. You're like, actually it's this. Like it's something it's not there with the knee. It's like we get there's some empowerment thing to
For
tearing
sure.
somebody else down because we feel somewhat superior. And it starts as a kid. And unless you work to get that exercised out, it just kind of keeps going. That's why people love to see celebrities fall off. They love to see the pretty
Crazy.
girl get fat, the guy with abs, you know, like fall
Crazy.
off a little bit. It's like, oh man, you used to be a sex symbol. Look at you now. You got a dad bod. It's like, what shape are you in? And why does it even matter what shape I'm in?
Yeah, it's just projection, bro. People project all their shit onto other people, and it's true. You have a point because I feel like most of the times the haters you see in the comments and stuff, they're all kids, man. Like they're like 15-year-old kids just like
Vicious.
trolling.
They're vicious.
Right?
These kids are
Yeah,
savage.
these kids are savages, yo. Like we
They're
weren't
good.
like this. I don't remember like being
These
like this
kids be
when we were young.
like, wow, they be pulling out arrows. I'm like, dude,
Oh,
you're 14. How do you even know this many words? Like these kids be pulling stuff out. They like, yo, I found your high school graduation photo. Like,
for
how? I don't
real,
even have that. Where'd you get that from? These boys are murderous, and
for real.
they can do all that stuff and then get on their online game and just kind of keep moving. You're none the
Yeah,
wiser. You can't track them down. They're better at it than you are.
100%. But it's true. You can't let yourself dive into any of that because it doesn't say anything about you. It just says more about them.
Right.
Like you
You gotta
said,
rise
just
above
gotta
it.
keep it moving. Yeah, 100%.
I think the biggest key with all that stuff though is like if you're not centered in yourself, and we were talking about this in a pre-show meeting, where yourself is like you're the center of your own universe, and we're within a larger universe, right? So people coming at you is your own universe, but if your universe isn't centered in something strong, then people's voices and people's opinions can knock you off your center, and now you're all over the place, and you're really a victim of whatever you hear and what people are saying about you and to you, and because you don't have anything to kind of feel good about. If you're rooted in something good, you know you're gonna get good and bad. No one's as good as the best person thinks they are, and no one's as bad as the worst person thinks they are. There was always somewhere in the middle. So if you're letting the good comments make you like euphoric and the bad
True.
comments depressive, that means that your center's off. It doesn't. You can say what you want about the depressive people, but if you're good, them trying to talk bad about you, yo, I don't like your music. You're like, that's cool. This is my expression. It won't knock
Facts.
you off. If you say you don't like my music, should I stop making music and stuff? That's
Never
because
make
you're
it,
not
bro.
good.
Yeah, 100%. And to speak on that, the whole being centered in self, it's kind of, and I can't take credit for this because there's a video. I don't know if you know who King Los is, the rapper.
Yeah, yeah. That's in Kilos.
he has a video where he talks about this, and he explains how they kind of brain train us to think that being self-centered is off and wrong.
Mm.
But when you're self-centered, all you are is centered in self. Obviously, you don't need to be a
That's
dick,
a, that's a bar though. I see that. I see what he did
right?
there. I
Yeah,
see what he
like
did there.
you don't need to, you can still. The way he kind of explains it is like, how can you be an extension to others if you're not even an extension to yourself?
Mm.
So if you can find that balance within yourself and you can be centered within yourself, then you can extend to others and be an extension for them in whatever aspect.
That's
But
good.
yeah, I agree 100%. If you're centered within yourself and you're cemented and your foundation of self is strong, anything anyone says isn't, it's just gonna bounce off. And I mean, we're humans, so there might be some,
Yeah. Somebody will
there's
cut through every now and again.
there's
Like, ooh,
still some
that's
triggers.
that one got me. Like,
Yeah,
that one
there's
got
still
me.
some
Got me in the
triggers,
rib on
but
that one. Just like
100%. But this whole, I think, journey of self is a journey for life. Like, you don't just stop. Like, it's a continuous process of, learning to love yourself, accept yourself, and cement yourself in whatever it is you choose to be cemented in.
I think you're right. And I think what I've seen is that we put a lot of emphasis in our culture. I can't speak on the world because I don't travel. That's how I've lived that life. But
Or,
in this culture, especially, we put a lot of emphasis on things that aren't like the self part that we exercise is be happy, but we don't have a vehicle to achieve that or like a benchmark for what that is. So
for sure.
being happy is like a destination for people, but they don't even know what happiness looks like if you ask them. So what is it that you're striving for? I want to be happy. All right, what is happy? Well, I don't know. But then how will you know if you get there if you don't know what it is? You're on this journey with no end game. And so that in and of itself is an issue, but also the people who are placed to coach you on how to be better in self, to build self-esteem, are either parents or teachers. A lot of them aren't good in self. So you can't teach what you don't know. You
Yep.
can't give what you don't have. So if you're not centered as my parent, as my teacher, as my pastor, rabbi, what have you, how can you give me something if you don't even know what it is yourself? You're still as fickle as what people say to you when you're 45. I'm 10. I'm like, hey, hold me down. Like, teach me something. I'm 10, bro. Like, I got acne and stuff. My voice is cracking, and you're like, no, that's good. But like, someone says something to you, and you fly off the handle because you're not even good in your own space. So it's
Of course.
how can the blind lead the blind, and that's what a lot of this is, and that's
Yep.
why I feel like a lot of these keyboard warriors, the bullying, the chat room goons, like
Chat room goons. I like that
like
one.
comment section assassins, like that's what it is. It's I don't
Yeah,
have a good outlet. No
of
one's
course.
taught me the way, so let me get this off,
Absolutely.
and it doesn't stop.
And it's crazy because, I feel like, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think you're lucky if you have parents that understand these things,
Mm,
I can only speak from my point of view. And I mean, my mom, I got the best mom in the world, hands down. Shout out mama.
say hands
Um,
down. Okay,
but she
mom
had so
competition.
much going on in her life that she never had the chance to, raising three kids on her own, she never had the chance to look inside and to deal with herself. And so a lot of the things, even though she showed me unconditional love, and a main reason why I am the way that I am today is because of her, there were still some things that she like continuously asked for my forgiveness for, like, not knowing. And I got to
Mm,
constantly remind her, like, how could you have done better? You didn't know better. Like, you're only doing the best that you can. And I think it's important for parents to understand that, like, you're doing the best that you can. There's no rule book to this shit. You just kind of got to move a certain way and try to finesse your situation to understand how to find balance. And I think even not being a parent, just being a regular human being going through life, especially in our younger ages, 20s, 30s, when you're like
yeah.
finding yourself and discovering yourself and what you want to do and who you want to be, it's definitely important to kind of guide yourself if you need to. Sometimes you got to be your own hero. Like, most times you got to be your own hero at the end of the day.
This is something I didn't realize until like now. So you start getting
Same,
older. Is
100%, same.
is that like the difference between you being a parent and you not being a parent is like a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like objectively, it's like, yeah, you prepped for the 9 months or whatever, but like until you have a kid, you don't have a kid.
Of course.
And so the idea that you go from not having a child to the day you have one, having all the answers doesn't make sense. That's just like never having a job, and then now you've been hired. You don't know everything about that job.
Course
You
not.
just got it.
Bro.
You just got it. You just walked in the door. It's like, hey, where's the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
Where's my smock? Where's my hat? Like whatever the job is, we have to
100.
train you and how to do that. And there's plenty of books. You ask your parents, so I guess our grandparents or whatever, and maybe friends who have kids. You start peeling off knowledge from people, but what works for them may not work for you. The
Sure.
books are a collection of studies, but doesn't mean your kid may just be the outlier. Nothing's universal, so they can say you should let your kid cry for 5 minutes before you come in the room, but your kid might just be like, yo, if you don't get here in 20 seconds, I'm crying this house down. You may like, you don't know that until you're in the situation. You can't predict how you're going to react because there's hormones and there's a lot of stuff going on. So as kids, we don't understand what parents go through because we don't get it. And we don't understand they're us, but they have more responsibility.
Of course.
And they don't always have the right blueprint to
And you're
follow.
talking about the hardest job in the world.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So I think it's, you know, if you're lucky enough to have good parents in your life that were at least able to, regardless of their traumas and regardless of, some things that they might have projected on you, if you're lucky enough to have like just unconditional love and someone that was just there for you at that point, like once you get to a certain age, it's kind of on you to like maneuver through life and figure out these things, because again, like nobody's gonna save you, unfortunately. Like
That's a you know what it is? That's a big deal. He said no one's gonna save you. I think because our first connection is with our parents generally, like whoever is there when we're kids, we attach so much to it that
yeah,
like we have this line of demarcation. Like at 18, you're an adult. You can vote, you can leave, go to college, whatever you want to do. But at 18, you're only a year removed from 17 where you can't do any of that stuff.
right, yeah,
And really 17, 18 in and of itself is a day. It's 364 days, and that 365, you're 18 now.
yeah,
But you don't feel any different. Like I remember turning 18 and not sleeping the night before. I was in
yeah,
bed just like, I'm gonna be a man tomorrow. It's like, I'm about to be a man. And I wasn't ready. I was like, what's my fit gonna be for tomorrow? Like, I'm wake up and eat an extra egg for breakfast because I feel like I can have it. Like I'm a man now. Throw that extra egg on that omelet real quick, fam. I'm 18. We don't like it's really. I know it's a minute. It's a couple hours. It's just, and then you're 18 now, and so the whole world sees you differently. If you do something illegal, now you're going to real jail. No more juvie. You can vote now. Like people say, well, he's 18. Well, 18's old enough. You should know. 17, he's still a kid. Like
yeah. It's crazy.
it's a
Such a
big
blurred
deal,
line.
man.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of, I've never really, I don't know that I've dived into this kind of conversation, but it's true. I've never really thought about it. But yeah, I feel like there's no real guidance on making that transition. We're not taught these things in school on how to transition to being an adult, whether it be learning about taxes or how to, whatever,
Ever.
nutrition, how to cook your own food, grow your own food, all these things that can push kids forward into being adults and like learning how to adult. Because, and did anybody teach you how to adult?
Listen, I just
Nobody
started
taught me.
doing stuff. The first time I started cooking by myself, it was a rough one. Like
Yeah.
it's you're like, now how do you boil water again? Like because I think I boiled the pot down, like the water started evaporating. I didn't know when to stop it. I was like, all right, like is it hot enough? Like what's happening? I've seen people go in the kitchen, I've seen food come out, but I never sat and watched the process. So I just assumed like once it hit its proper boiling temperature, I would just know what to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll put some pasta in there, and like I had to put new water in there. I had burned the pot, put new water in, put the pasta in. And I was like, all right, when is pasta done? Like it says 7 to 8 minutes. I'm like, I don't know. It still looks kind of crunchy to me. All right, I'll leave it in there for 10 minutes. And then I put it in there for like 12 and it came out super starchy. And I'm like, dude, this isn't good. And you had to just force it down because you made it. So you have to be like, no, it's pretty good. It's all right.
Yeah. I made it. It's good. It's all right.
Put a little Parmesan and make it, yeah, there we go. Like
Yeah,
it's,
back in the day before all these recipes and
Yeah.
all these tasty videos. I got everything like set up for you real quick.
You just
But
go. You
yeah,
just
man, I
go.
think you just gotta kind of. I don't think it should be this way in the sense where you have to learn how to maneuver through life
Hmm.
for yourself. I think we should have more outlets and more guidance, and like those are solutions that I think are important to talk about. Not that I have all of them because I definitely don't, but
Right.
I think it would help kids 18 to 21 in that age where you're like in a weird place in life where you're still a kid but you're not treated like one at all. And if we had maybe some kind of like, I don't know, just course that would kind of like guide people to what they should be focusing on and how to deal with growing up, how to deal with emotions, how to deal with relationships and toxic relationships and all the shit that's important, man.
Listen, there are probably courses that exist, but it's like it's few and far between.
Exactly, yeah.
And
There definitely are.
between 18 and 21, you don't even know that you need those courses. That's the
Mm,
issue. You don't know you need them until you're
true.
25, but you should
Yeah.
have learned a lesson at 19.
Word.
Now 6 years later, you're like,
You know everything when you're 18.
damn, I should have learned that in high school. Like, but now it's too late. I
Yep.
learned I learned probably the most valuable lesson about my own, I'll say self-worth, because I think that's probably the biggest term for it, around 21. I had a major league crush on this girl. Major league. I'm talking like I was like, whatever. I may have written a song. I'm not a singer or a rapper. I may have written a song. I'm trying to rhyme
Going
that name
with
in the
the
hook. I'm
melody.
like, what rhymes with this name? I was like failing miserably. Yeah, she also didn't have a name that was easy to rhyme. That's neither here nor there. But I remember liking her for a long time, and I kind of I was slow playing it for a long time, and then I finally made a move, and she was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, like if I led you on for the last like year, my bad, but let's just be friends." And I was like, "Nah, it's cool, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll still be friends, but like, so I kept being friends, but really like I was playing a game of if she's around me more, how could she not like me? I'm hilarious, sex symbol, great dude. It's like, what's not to like? And so I kept playing it. And then like maybe at like the year and a half mark, I made like a secondary move. And it was just like, nah. And then like one of my boys is like, you've been chasing this girl for 18 months, dude. Like, what are you doing? And they told me this at 12 months, 6 months too, like to their credit. It wasn't just like me sitting there. I was stiff arming them. They're like, leave that girl alone. Nah, son, I love her. And after 18 months, I was like, what am I chasing? Like, she, she keeps choosing other people that aren't me. And I'm just waiting on the like periphery. Like, maybe she'll see I'm this diamond in the rough. But then, like, I was like, if I'm really this diamond, you don't have to wait for people to see it. People see diamonds because they see it. A diamond shines because it's what it is. And I was like, if I think I'm really a diamond, then I can't keep waiting for people to see it. And
100%.
then it took 18 months of failure of me like lurking in the shadows. Like she like, I'm so mad at him. Oh, word. Let's talk about it. Like I was that dude on the phones at 3 in the morning. I don't feel good about
Oh,
this now.
in the zone.
I was like 3 in the morning. Like forget sleep. I'm here, baby. What you need? You need a shoulder? Got a 2 piece. Come get it. And I did all that stuff. And at 18 months, I was like, I'm not gonna put myself in this situation going forward. Like I'll make my intentions known. Hey, I like you. Let's yada yada. If it
Sure.
doesn't go that way and you don't see me for what I think I am, that's got to be a non-negotiable for me. Where
Sure.
if people don't see me for what I am, I gotta be out for my own sake. I gotta
Absolutely.
do it. And yeah,
Like
I
you
mean,
said, it's about self-worth and understanding that for yourself. And you needed to go through that in order to figure it out.
I
And
could have stopped
I
at 12. I could
could
have
have,
stopped. I
you
could have
didn't.
stopped. I had plenty of off ramps. I kept driving past them. It's like off ramp. Nope. Like my car's like, no, we're not doing that this time. Like I was actively keeping that car on the road to not get
It's
on the off ramp.
crazy, man, but you gotta learn. You gotta learn that shit for yourself. Like my homie, my best friend tells me all the time. Um, there's just some things you can't tell people. Like they just gotta go through it. They gotta
Yeah.
learn for themselves. They gotta make the mistakes because if not, you're just kind of enabling and you're not allowing them to see it for themselves, which is when it's most powerful, really.
It's unfortunate, but that's the case. Like you gotta,
Yep.
because heartbreak lasts a long time. Just like for some reason, those emotions tend to last longer than the good ones. Like we see good
Right.
emotions as something fleeting, like hey, like you started a business, awesome. But then
Yeah.
like that negative 5 year old toxic relationship has a reoccurring thing. It's almost like embedded within like the fabric of your brain. And the good memories are just like a drive by. It's like, hey, good stuff, bye. Hey,
Yeah.
another good one. Bye. It's like, where's all these good moments going? Can y'all come get this? Can y'all evict this bad mo? This and it's just like the
Yeah,
bad
man.
one is just there, just like on the couch, unemployed, eating Cheetos, just taking up space. And the good memories are like, hey, we can't drop some good food off. We're gonna leave though. And it's like, you can stay though.
It's wild. It's almost like a defense mechanism. I feel like I read this at one point about psychology and how our brains kind of tend to look for the negative to like protect ourselves. So I wonder if maybe that's why. I don't know.
It makes
Just like
sense.
remember this so it don't happen again.
Remember that stove? Like, oh yeah, I
Yep.
remember. You look at your hand, you got that
Exactly.
burn mark. Like, yeah, I remember.
Yep.
But here's the thing. But we're hard headed in this country. Again, I don't travel, but in this country we're hard headed, and so we'll make the same mistake multiple times because we didn't learn the lesson. You think you would have learned it already,
You
but
think you
you would
think
you would you would think it's like if it's not a credit card, you're like, I'm never getting in debt again. Next thing you know,
yeah.
you'd be like, swipe, 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 and then that bill come in. You're like, who bill is this? It's like this is yours. It was you who ran this cost up. It's like, oh god, now you're in debt again. It's like I'm not gonna risk this much for this person I like, and then you risk it all, and then they didn't feel the same way. You're sitting there like, how did I get back in this situation again? And
For
it's
sure.
some lessons you got to keep learning, and that sucks when it's the second or third time you've been taught the lesson and you still didn't get it. You're like,
I think it's like kind of like almost your false self repeating mistakes because your true self knows, after that first time, you
hmm.
shouldn't, like your gut knows, like, oh, shouldn't do this again. But then that false self kicks in and it's like,
Dive
no,
back in.
you want to. It's wild, man. It's not easy to maneuver in general.
It's an interesting situation. Like it's
Sure.
what you hope is that you learn most of the lessons the first time.
Yeah,
That's the hope,
for
because no
sure.
one's perfect, no one's infallible, whatever. You just hope that you get the real ones early and you make the little ones. Like I've trusted people, maybe I shouldn't have trusted, because
Sure.
I'll extend them like some courtesy, whatever. I feel like maybe they're in a rough situation, and then maybe a year, 2 years later, I feel like they turn on me and are ungrateful for whatever I gave. And I'm not the type. I'm not a scoreboard dude. Like remember that time I gave you lunch when you
Yeah,
didn't have food? But it
yeah.
is like I've been good in our dynamic for this period of time, and then on a dime you flip it, and now I'm sitting here like, wait, am I the bad guy here? Like, wait a minute, like, but how am I in this situation again? Because the idea, and I remember this when I was in school to be a therapist. They gave you tracks. You can be addiction, you can be family counseling, you can be marriage, whatever. And I didn't want to do addiction because my thought was I can do everything right and it'll still go wrong, and that's a hard thing to kind of manage. But the idea that maybe you save one addict out of 10 would be a really big win, but does that outweigh the 9 that you lose? And I try to do the math in my head. I didn't think it would work out because most people, just like people who get in and out of jail, the recidivism rate is super high to go back. Most people who are addicts go back to drugs. It's just what they do. But
Sure.
that one person that's like 30 years sober, telling their story, TED Talk, that's like, yeah. But then
Right.
there's 7 or 8 people on Skid Row, and it's like, and I didn't think emotionally I could handle
For
that
sure.
too.
It's a
And so
battle of perspective, because you've used both of them. It's like, okay, I could view it as like, damn, this is a win. I got one person, to see their full potential and let all that shit go, and or you could look at it like, ah, nah, I didn't, I batted 1 for 10, like,
that's a horrible batting average. You're going back to
yeah,
the minors.
horrible,
Get out. You can't pay.
horrible.
You
But
got to do
yeah, I
this
think
3 out of 10.
it's hard, man, and I battle with it all the time, just like trying to flip perspective because you can do it in every situation. You can look at it two different ways, and there's always a positive way and there's always a negative way. But I think going back to being cemented in self, you got to know yourself and what you're ready for emotionally, mentally, and all of that.
It's yeah. I think that's it. Always has to come back to a center, and so
Yep.
I've had this talks with my boys since they know me in college. I'm super picky about who I date. Very
Okay.
picky. Not as picky about who I go on dates with, but like
Right.
who's like my
On to it.
girl. I'm
Yeah.
very like I'm like, hey, that this it's a lot. I got stuff to work on. but but I made the decision like probably like freshman, sophomore year in college. I'm gonna be picky about who I date, but that means I'm gonna be single a lot because I'm being picky, right? That's just the math of that.
Right.
So I had to be okay with the fact that I may not have a girl for a year or two. I'm gonna go on dates. I'm gonna like do what I do, but
Sure.
the to have that person, there's gonna be few and far between if you're picky about it. And if I couldn't reconcile that point at 18, 19, then it would have been an issue at 25, 26. So I've never been the type to try to rush into anything because if I'm
Yeah. Of
looking for something rare and kind of special, that
course.
is rare and special, which means it's infrequent. So I had to, I'm actually happy. That's one lesson that stayed from the teenage years, like 18, 19. I was like, listen, I know a lot of people in bad relationships, a lot of
Yeah.
people who settled, a lot of people who are just who just don't want to be alone. A lot of
Yeah.
people just don't want to be alone.
Yeah,
And I
man.
said,
People are afraid of themselves.
it's one of the scariest things in the world. People who just jump from, they just never spend more than a week by themselves because they just can't
Sure.
handle it. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a jumper. I don't want to be the jumpers are scary. Did you just have a boyfriend? Nah, that didn't work out. I got a new one though. Um, I don't want to be a jumper, but I don't want to be someone who's with somebody and you just miserable the whole time. But
For
now
sure.
you just like, well, I'm gonna leave. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather be solo than in that situation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you like, but it comes back to self though. What's your self view? What's your non-negotiable? My non-negotiable is I don't want to be with a girlfriend that I'm only like all right about. That doesn't make
Sure.
sense. Why would I do that? Why would I take my if I'm a diamond, because I gotta go back to the diamond thing,
Yeah.
I'm valuable. Why would I just let a homeless dude throw me around the air? Like put me in the ring and put me on somebody's thing. Like I'm supposed to be special. Like, why
Yep.
would you just settle for somebody who you don't really whatever for? That
Yep.
devalues you and it's not good for them.
I agree 100%. And I feel like the best relationships almost help you or like force you to love yourself. When you're with
Mm,
someone who's like meant for you and right for you and like constantly reminds you of your self-worth, it allows you to like realize it for yourself. Because sometimes we need, we just need to hear that shit.
especially if you're in the chat section,
Yeah.
you forget all your good qualities. You suck at life. I'm like, do I? Like, I've done a lot of good stuff. Like, why don't you ever point out any of my good accomplishments in the chat room? Why y'all just come at me with my worst highlights? Remember that one time you wore those Mitch Mac socks? I'm like, yeah, but I wore good socks for like 3 straight months.
Yeah.
Y'all forgot about my cool sock game? Remember when I had the
Ew.
Rick and Morty socks? Y'all didn't give me credit for those? It's always. All right. So let's get into your hard transition. Let's get into your company because I'm wearing a shirt. We represent an opening and we did a 30
Or,
minute sidetrack that had nothing to do with your company. So now let's try to bring it back towards this. Um, how'd you get started? How's it going?
or,
What's your philosophy for it?
well, basically, well, I met you at Equinox when I started my personal training career.
Yeah.
Shout out. Um, at the time, I was kind of in a weird place. I had done sports medicine in college, but I didn't really feel like it was for me. Like I did a graduate assistantship, and it just it just wasn't for me. So I ventured out, did personal training, and I did it for a while. I was good at it. I really enjoyed helping people. I feel like I had a good understanding of the body, and then going to Equinox really cemented my education and my understanding of movement, and it's something that I never really had before. Even though I was an athlete my whole life,
Yeah.
I didn't really understand movement in the way that I was able to. And then I ended up doing my own thing. I had my own personal training business. Everything was great. It was, financially successful, but I just wasn't fulfilled. Like
Mm.
it just wasn't fulfilling me. Maybe I don't know if it's because I was doing it on my own and I didn't have like that team,
Yeah.
atmosphere or what it was. Because I did love my clients. I loved making them happy. I loved helping them, but there was just something that it just wasn't fulfilling me. Like I was at a point in my life where I think I was at that age. I was like 25, 26. and I just wasn't really sure of what I wanted from life. And I felt something pulling me away from Miami. Just something for like a few years. Something was just pulling me out of there. Like, yo, you need to get out of here. Um, and then had a couple rough years. My grandma died suddenly. It was really rough. Had a couple rough patches. I had some major life changes. And at the time, my best friend, she was out in the Northeast doing her thing. And she's like, well, I kind of need some help. And I was at a point where I wanted to get out. I had lost like 6 clients in 7 months due to like, I got a job, I'm going over here. My mom is dying, I gotta go take care of her. Like on some just really looking back now in retrospect, I think it was just the universe pushing me where I needed to go without knowing it. Because at the time I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know, like
I need monies.
I need money. So yeah, I think the universe kind of like pushed me out here. My best friend needed help. She is, I mean, incredible at what she does. To get into it, the Green Alchemist is a medical marijuana craft cannabis company. Um, and kudos to her. She's incredible. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yo, how do you know that? Like, it's incredible for real. The knowledge that she has. She's been doing this for 15 years. It's been her dream to be where we're at now, which I'll get into in a bit, and to kind of be by her side and help her achieve her dreams has been honestly the best decision I've ever made, because
That's awesome.
not only has it allowed me to help someone else reach their dreams, but it's allowed me to kind of get away from the toxicity that Miami can be at times.
I remember.
And
I remember.
yeah, and it allowed me to really like deal with my shit and dive into self and learn to like love myself and forgive myself and accept myself and all these different things. So I'm super grateful for the fact that she was able to pull me out here. And that was 2 years ago. So we've been here for 2 years. And the beginning was crazy. Like we were so broke. Like we didn't even know what we were gonna do. We had like $1,000 electricity bill, and we had like no money. Eating pasta for like a week straight, like grinding it out rough, man. But she's a go getter, and I had no doubt that she was gonna figure some shit out. And once that first pin moved, everything just kind of started moving. And over the past 2 years, we've been able to network within the state and push our product throughout the state, and we've become one of the most well-known growers in the state. Um, and finally, after 2 years, we were able to open up our storefront. So that's where we're at now. We just opened a month ago, I want to say. It was June 3rd. It was going to be March 3rd, but then everything
COVID
happened.
was like,
Even though it's funny because we were an essential business, medical
sure.
marijuana was an essential business, but it was just a weird time to like open up a store.
Yeah.
So everything kind of worked out, I think, perfectly because it allowed us time to like get ready for the opening and to have ourselves be, I guess, cemented in what we really wanted to bring to the area, which is just organic craft cannabis medicine. You know, we pride ourselves on not using any garbage, no pesticides, insecticides. Everything is organic. We try to make it how it should be, which is medicine. And it's crazy. You know, every day you kind of do the same shit and nothing changes. And then you look back and it's like, yo, look at everything we've been able to do. So it's pretty crazy. But
What's the vision for it? Because I know what you're talking about is kind of like the compound effect coming into real life, where you do the work, and you
yeah,
don't see the results of it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're the results, but
yep, of
they don't come immediately. It's like they just
course.
manifest. So now that you're starting to see, I guess, the plants grow, since we're in that field right now. What do
Honey.
you you see what I did there? What's your goal? What's your next like benchmark? 'Cause I know there's like an ultimate goal, I'm sure, maybe to open multiple stores, whatever. But like
Right.
what's your immediate next steps going forward?
I think I'll speak for her for a second because this has been her dream for like 15 years. to like have a store.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the store is finally here, I think it's hard for her to take a breath. She's just one of those people that can't stop. Like she just got to keep working all
Just
the
like
time.
Puff Daddy. Can't
Hustle,
stop, won't
yeah,
stop.
Puff Daddy for real.
Can't stop,
Um,
won't stop.
so I think now that the store's finally open, she's allowing herself to like think about what the next move is. Because really, it's mostly her company, and I mean I do help a lot, 100%. But um, I kind of just play the role that she needs me to play, which is
Mm.
just help her out in any aspect. I do work at the store. I obviously help her in the garden and stuff like that. But ultimately, for me personally, would be to have my own grow. Maybe supervised by her at first, because even though
Yeah.
I've been here for 2 years, like there's still so much to learn. It's incredible. Um, so for me personally, I think the next step would be to have my own grow, still being affiliated with her, obviously, it just being like an extension to what we already have.
Right.
And I think she would love to open more stores and just kind of like franchise out and
Big time.
still maintain the quality control. Because I
That's
think
the
that,
biggest thing.
yeah, that's where it gets
Yeah.
hard with like mass production. It's like you lose the quality of it. We have a very small grow. It's very boutique. We're both in there. We have eyes on everything. We're able to kind of control everything in a setting, whereas you have a massive warehouse. It's hard to kind of keep that quality. So I think right now we're really just trying to push the store and just get the community involved. We're noticing like so many people from the area coming and just being so happy that we're bringing good quality product to the area. So I think our biggest focus right now is just getting the store to keep growing, and then again expanding to having more grows where we can be able to produce more product, because essentially the biggest issue has always been that we don't have enough, which I guess is a good issue, but it's one we need to fix.
Well, listen, that's why you keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
So, so you got the Green Alchemist going, and now you're in your music bag. So, what
yeah.
is it? When can we expect some music? What is it going to be? EP, LP? Is it going to be like a visual? Like, let's get it. Like, how deep are you in the music bag? Are you just getting back into it, or are you like, yo, projects
Sure.
dropping in 2020? Look out for your
um,
girl.
that'd be dope. Um,
Okay. No
Little
problem.
backstory. I've been wanting to do music. I flirted with the idea of actually doing it. I would probably say like in the last 5 years. I think I've always known it in the back of my mind that it was something that was a passion of mine. I mean, I've been a hip hop head since I was like,
Right.
I had an older brother who would always listen to like Eminem. And so I would literally like listen to it, pause it, write it down, listen to it, pause it, write it down. So I had the whole shit written out, would memorize every song. I was wild.
You could have just
And
downloaded that. They have the
yeah,
lyrics. It's like they
I
have so
fell
many
in love,
lyrics.
bro. I fell in love with words at a really young age. And I've been writing ever since, probably since I was like 10 or 12. Those years are blurry,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. And I was always reserved about it. I think maybe it has a lot to do with self-worth and self-acceptance. And, you keep shit to yourself because you're afraid of what others might think about it. And
Of course.
it's like almost sacred to you. And it's like, don't say anything about it because I love it. So if you're going to say some shit about it, it's going to change the way, it's like a backwards way of
It's
thinking
my
when you're
art.
young. Hmm.
Don't look at my art. Don't look at it.
Exactly, man. So
Yeah.
I struggled with that for a while. I wrote for like 15 years and never really showed much of it. Um, and as I've the past couple of years allowed myself to dive into self and to really dig deep as to like what I want for myself, writing and music was always coming up. So
Mm.
I decided to finally make an Instagram page and release like some of my writings, poetry, lyrics. It's more written in like a flow to be rapped. So I don't know what you would call it really, but I did that. And then um, randomly, this guy I met off of some networking company, he hit me up and he's like, yo, you want to do a feature? And
Oh.
I'm like, what? I've never even made a song before, bro. And it was crazy because I accepted right away. He sent me the beat, and it just, I don't know, bro. It just came out naturally. Like, I think him and I collaborated. Obviously, he's elsewhere, so we did it virtually. But I think we finished the song in like 2 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I have a feature coming out. We don't have a date yet, but I'm assuming it's probably in the next 2 weeks or so. So I'll have a little feature. It'll be my first song ever that I ever recorded. And right now I'm currently working on just, I think just finding my sound. I'm not really, I don't know, man. I'm so cemented in self that like I don't really care. Like I'm not doing this for fame or clout. Like I don't want
Mm.
any of that shit. I'm doing this because this is an itch I needed to scratch. It's therapy for me. And if someone connects to it and relates to it and it helps them out, then that's just a bonus, you know? So right now I'm just, yeah, just trying to find my sound. I have a bunch of beats that I leased. I got a bunch of beat packs that I've been like rapping over, and I'm just gonna put shit out. Just start dropping singles and just get traction going and really just put in the hours and try to find my sound more than anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is the beginning,
Oh boy.
the
Listen,
very beginning.
art is such a fickle
Yep.
industry and all of it. It's the idea of making it big. I'm using that term loosely.
Yeah.
Is hard, and it's very few people.
Hmm.
But ultimately, even if you're not as big as the person
Hmm.
you probably wanted to be, and whatever it is, if
Yeah.
you have any group of people who follow it and mess with it, like sometimes having a small loyal base is better than having a lot of people mess
100%.
with you. It's like if you like if I did a comedy show and I sold merchandise, I'd rather have 100 people at my show and 50 buy merchandise than have a show of 500 and like 20 people buy stuff. Like
Yeah.
yeah, 500 people is crazy to perform in front of, but I
Yep.
want people that's like it's like we talk J Cole. J Cole's dropping his shoe tomorrow, and
Yep.
I never buy like shoes and stuff. I'm
Speaking of
like,
getting
listen,
that, they fly.
like I might have to get these shoes
Yeah.
because I'm a fan, and I'm like, and he's doing what Master P was talking about on Everyday Struggle about rap is going to retire you at some point, but if you don't have a thing to pivot to, what 50 Cent, what Jay-Z, these kind of guys did, then you're just going to be an old rapper. You
For
got to be
sure.
able to pivot into another business because this doesn't last forever. That's
Yep.
why you build a brand and then you sell that brand. You slap OVO on stuff. You slap made that music on whatever. Like it's not just the music. Because at a certain point, like I haven't liked the 50 Cent song in 10 years, but he's got two or
Great.
three shows. He's got movies. He's like I'm doing other stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
people know me as a rapper,
Of
but
course.
even like the Ti and Ludacris type people, like they were beefing and making movies at the same time,
For sure.
rapping for real, and then being like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still gonna do movies. I'm still gonna do guest appearances because it can't just be this Kid Cudi started acting. Like it's like you got to have something else to tap
Absolutely.
into, and
Yeah.
so he has his company Dreamville, obviously, but it's like the idea. And his merchandise sells well, but I think the shoe is the next step. It's like people spend 250, 300 for a pair of shoes easy, and
For
if they mess
sure.
with you and the shoes will fly,
100%.
like, why wouldn't they? Like, I bought some S dots back in the day. I had some Sean Carters. I'm not
Ah.
proud. I did it. I did it. I was like, listen, I'm about to be home for the day. I was walking around like, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? Sorry, my S dots just had to slow me down a little bit. It's just, it's a smart play. So
I feel you.
wherever your music goes, just like this podcast or hopefully my comedy, wherever that goes, if the people who mess with it heavy, then there's something beautiful about that. And
Yeah.
if it blows, then that's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a bonus, man. I'm not really looking for that. It's just more of like a self-fulfillment and like for once taking the time to do something for myself. Like it's so easy to do things for other people, and
100%.
it's so hard to do things for self. So I think for me the journey is just starting out with just self-fulfillment and just trying to fulfill that itch that I've been needing to scratch for a long ass time. And whatever comes of it comes of it. But I think I have an understanding of, I feel like people get caught up in what they do, becoming who they are, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not true. It's a part of you, it's an extension of you, but what you do isn't necessarily who you are. So being able to branch out and do other things,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like when you have that
100%.
understanding, it allows you to branch out and do other things because you realize that you can do anything. Like you're not just, Chris the trainer or Chris the comedian. You're
Got a lot of
fucking Chris,
hats.
and you're
Chris the
capable.
podcaster.
Yeah, bro. So it all comes back to the same thing, man. Self. It really does.
It's like we mentioned. I don't know what pod it was because we've been doing these at an alarming clip because the fans want it, and we
Gotta get
talk.
what they want, man.
You gotta get the people what they want. All right, but we talked about being more than what your job description is,
Yeah.
because that's what branding was supposed to be before it got kind of bastardized by social media, where everything's a brand, every person, whatever. It got a lot of control. But the idea of a brand is really you're not buying what I'm doing, you're buying me. And so whatever I do, you'll mess with. That's what I think the idea is supposed to come from. So the
Yeah.
reason you would have a celebrity endorser for politics is because they have a following because of their music or because of their acting. And so you would think that the following will follow their opinion. If your brand is something that people mess with, like if you have a personality, your personality could be a brand. Even if people think, oh, you're not a good actress, but you do well in movies, want to keep casting you for stuff. Hey, do you want to host this because you were doing so well there? Hey, do you want to, voice over this? Like, and you just go, and the people who mess with you are going to mess with you because they
Yeah.
mess with you. It's like there are
Sure.
many entertainers who I think they do a lot of stuff. I'm like they're only really good at maybe one or two things. My battery's dying. Wait, I got it. Um, boom. But just their person that they take their person wherever they go. I didn't know podcasting before this. I've been a comedian. That's what I was. I done a little bit of acting, whatever. But I take Chris, whatever this package is, everywhere. So the pod is an extension of what I am. The acting is, the writing is, stand up is. And listen, I made a couple songs in my day, not bragging, you know, not bragging, you know what I'm saying? Got like 4 listens on SoundCloud,
You gotta send
four real loyal listens. But they listen to a lot. It's like, yo, it's the same 4 people. But it's just, I'm going to take it wherever it is. I don't know what's going to stick. Sometimes we do episodes of this I think are like the greatest episode ever, and we get like 30 listens. And I'll do one, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that good. And they'll get 75. And I'm like, all right, don't know how that worked, but it did. And so you just do it.
It's weird, man, the psychology of like the masses and how they take in information, whatever it may be. It's kind of, it's hard because it's your art and you feel a certain way about it, but art is, it's different for everybody and they're allowed to interpret it the way they want to. So something you might see as gold, they see as trash. And then you look at something, you're like, that's garbage. And they're like, yo, that's the best shit you've ever done. You're like, what?
I've had people tell me that. Like, yo, that's the best joke you ever told. I'm like, have you heard my other material? Because now I feel like you're insulting me. I feel like you're coming at me right now because the other jokes I did was way better than the one you just heard.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are just in a certain mood. I think that music's the biggest indicator of this. Like, if you're in a mood and a song speaks to the mood you're in, this song could be objectively not a great song. Like maybe the lyrics are trash, whatever. But if you in that space and the song is here, to you, that's the greatest. And it's like, you can't tell me this ain't the song or the summer. You can't tell me that because this song and me are like here. You know my life perfectly. You never met me before.
Yep.
I don't care what Drake put out.
It's wild. I never really kind of knew that perspective. I mean, I'm very new to this as being an artist or a creator rather, but yeah, you do see a lot of just backlash because at the end of the day, it is art and it's open to interpretation. And I feel like all aspects of art, whether it be comedy, theater, acting, music, painting, drawing, sculpture, whatever it is, I think what matters is how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And if people mess with it, then they mess with it. And there are people who are gonna mess with it. It's just the way that it goes.
Just stay out the chat rooms. There's one quote by Shel Silverstein that's like my favorite, and it's, my work is good. That's why I put it out. Like, I think my work is good, so I put it out. How you feel about it is how you feel about it, but I think my work is good. So, because I went like, just like if this pod went horribly wrong, let's say for some reason the connection got all fuzzy, or you started like going off about something that I just can't endorse, I'd be like, hey, this has been cool. I actually just realized I gotta go do my taxes again. Like, I'm getting you the hell out of here. Get off. But I feel like there's always some part of it that's valuable. I've had pods where maybe for 30 minutes of the pod, I think it's unusable basically. But
For
there'll be
sure.
20 minutes that I think is gold. And if that 20 minutes of gold can hit a couple people, that makes the whole podcast worthy. It's like
Of course.
if like let's say part of your day was bad, you woke up late, you missed opening the store, whatever. But then a client came in and spent a bunch of money. That's the high point. You almost don't even you disregard the fact you woke up late, maybe you missed some early
Yeah.
morning customers, whatever. It's like, hey man, that high point good outweighs in this respect the bad. So if there's 5 to 10 minutes, there's maybe one really deep point that somebody gets into that I think people need to hear,
Yeah.
then that makes the whole podcast worth it. And I think
Absolutely.
that's a journey. It took me some time to kind of get to where I was like, if it wasn't like, if I didn't ask the right questions, if I felt like I wasn't digging in, or maybe like, they gave me a good, like a layup and I didn't dunk it. Like, they're like, here you go, Chris, like alley oop. And I was like, no, thank you. You shoot it. It's like, no, man, take that again, man. You just, if there's something
Reminds me of
valuable
your
in it.
towel days.
No towel. Listen, no, they
Uh,
stole my towel after that. I started. People send me videos of them shooting towels. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's me.
He's a legend, man.
Listen, for those of you who don't know what's going on, at Equinox, I would finish training my clients. We would stretch them out, and we would use towels to stretch them out with. And when it was all said and done, my clients and I would take the towels and roll them up, and we would shoot. What had to be almost a 15, 20-foot jump shot,
Yeah,
but
way out of range.
it was out of range. But the towels aren't meant to be shot the distance they were, and the hole they were being shot in was like whatever. But for some reason, they allowed me to do this. I'm pretty sure it was against the rules. Not really that important now. I definitely was against the rules. So I started doing it with a couple of clients, and other people would be like, "What are you guys doing? Shooting towels?" And then all my clients got on board with it. None of them were like, "I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm not doing that." They were like, "Give me that towel," and
Yeah.
they got real competitive about it. Most of them were horrible. I'm not gonna lie, 3 out of 4. But
Oh man,
listen,
you made a lot of them.
listen, my shot
I'll
got
co-sign on
wet.
that. You made a lot.
Hey, and when I made them for real, you couldn't tell me nothing for the
Oh man, you ran
day.
around the whole gym, bro.
Tell me nothing. And Martin's the biggest hater. He's like, that's not real basketball. Like, don't matter. Jordan, like, I would literally run around the gym, and the members would laugh because they're like, this guy is 25. He needs to grow up. But also,
Yeah,
we love the energy because
exactly.
that's me. And they
Yeah, and
told
that's
me to
what
stop.
resonates with people, man. When you're just being your true self, it
It wasn't
resonates
like shooting stuff in like
yeah,
you
man,
walk past the dumpster, you ball up a paper, you just
all day.
everybody likes doing it. I just took it
I
to the
make
next
life
level.
decisions on that shit sometimes. This goes in.
Yep. It's like I did that. I got a couple girls to well, whatever. They basically said if I make this shot, it's like, you're not gonna make it. A word.
Mm,
That boy, my confidence went to a new level. I'm not gonna make it. Elbow was in tight, flip at the wrist. It's like it was like, that's a good shot. So you coming to the comedy show? I guess I'll be there. And I'm just like, it's like
Hell yeah.
um, so we're gonna wrap. Where can people find you on for your company page, for your own social page? Like, where can people find you to follow your journey?
The company, you can find us on Instagram at the Green Alchemist Co. You can also find our website, which is on the link in the bio of the Instagram, but it's www.thegreenalchemistco.com. For my personal page, it's Reese with 3 Y's. So
It's so confusing.
RESE.
Why so many Y's?
They didn't have it, man. A lot
Um,
of Reese's out there, I
you gotta
guess.
change your name. You gotta get something else.
But yeah, Reese Y, 3 Y's _9, and Seated Thoughts is my, I guess, poetry page, word page, whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha. Do you have anything else you want to give out to the people before we wrap this up? Like any parting
Um,
wisdoms other than my
well,
jump
first
shot
of
being wet?
all, shout out to you. I appreciate you. I think having conversations are important, especially conversations about self. And, we didn't get to dive into like deeper topics like social injustice and all the things that are
We've been
plaguing us.
doing that, yeah.
Yeah, we can be on here forever. But
Exactly.
I commend you for doing this and putting yourself out there and having these conversations because I know it's not always easy to do.
Oh, that's rough stuff.
And for the people, I think really just love yourselves, man. Learn to love yourselves. Go inside. Forget the outside noise. It doesn't matter what people think about you. I have a line in one of my songs that's like, word to the wise, make some tea and keep drinking. What you think about me is none of my business. And I think people should try to move that way. Just stay in your lane, do you, focus on yourself, nurture your health, learn about true health. That's another thing we could talk about for hours. Um, and yeah, man, just be easy.
After see, that's a good wrap up. The be easy at the end. I like it. Use this nice little bow. Hey,
Be watered. Just be easy.
that was awesome. Arisse, thank you for being here.
For
I think
sure.
everybody enjoyed you. To the people out there, thank you for listening as always. We just had our 100th episode. Super happy about that.
Congrats, man.
5,000 plus listens. We're pushing forward. All right.
Same.
And we're going to keep giving y'all content. Tell your friends, share, repost, all that good stuff. Hit the YouTube page to see the video of all this so you can see, because I think that the mannerisms add to it. Sometimes they hear jokes, but you
For
got to
sure.
see the joke to
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Like, oh, I see what she was doing. Okay, whatever. Check out the YouTube page on Unofficial Therapy Podcast. As always, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.
Appreciate you, man. Take care.